Hey guys, this is Alex does Sudokus, and today we are going to do some miracle Sudokus. Hope you guys have had a good day so far, and yeah, let's have a go at some miracle Sudokus. I think I've only done one so far. Yeah. So, oh, non-consecutive thermal Sudokus. So let's see what the rules are. Pardon me. In non-consecutive thermal Sudoku, every row column box, blah 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 blah, in addition to directly adjacent cells, cannot contain consecutive numbers. Okay, so it's basically just non-consecutive Sudoku, basically. So let's see. Fives can't go in these two cells or these cells, so I can confidently say there's a pointer pair of fives there. Can I rule out the sixes? No, I can't. I've got a pair of sevens over there and a pair of sixes over here, but only this can be a six because that is next to a seven. So let's put a six there. What else can I do? Threes maybe? Got a pair of threes there. Okay. So where can a 2 go? Where 2s can't go next to a 1, so 2 can only go there. And it can't go in those cells. That's not very useful. What about 1s? 1s can go in any of these cells. I think I should probably focus on this cage. Pardon me. Don't know why I'm getting the coughs. Okay, where can an 8 go in this cage? These two cells. So with that in mind, the 8 can't go in these cells either because this thermometer is 3 in length. So with the pointer pair of 8s and the cells next to the 7 ruled out, I've only got 2 possible places for the 8 over there. No restrictions over here. No, this is a miracle Sudoku, so basically uses different rule sets. In miracle Sudokus, you cannot have consecutive numbers next to each other. So yeah, and also there's thermometer Sudokus going on in here as well. So with thermometers, numbers have to go up in values from the bulb to the end of it. So that should allow us to solve this puzzle basically. So for instance, in this cage, the 4 cannot go in any of these 3 cells next to the 3, so they have to be in these 2 cells there, so they form a pointer pair of 4s. I do apologise for the coughing, I'm not sure what's going on. So I think we've got pencil marks for, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So the only number left in this cage is a 9. So that places a 9 in here. Hi Elaine, there is a lot going on indeed. And I don't think I've fully sussed out everything yet. I can't restrict the 2s. Oh, actually, I can restrict the 2s into those 2 cells because I have a pointer pair of 2s there, and a 2 can't be next to a 3. So that gives me a kind of diagonal position for the 2s. I think sooner or later. Oh, have I got the same? Oh no. I thought I had the same thing going on with the 4s, but I misread that. So I think I should probably look at the 5s and the 8s. So the 5s cannot go in these cells. They can't go in there either. It's not super useful. I promise I'll eventually stop coughing. Really don't know what's going on. Can't do much with the 5s, so I probably need to start using the thermometers in some ways, and there's probably some sort of clever logic with them. But before I do, I kind of want to exhaust myself in these cages first. So let's see. 2s can't go. 2s can't go in any of these cells because this cell is next to a 1, and these 3 cells are next to a 3. So the 2s have to be in columns 4s and 6, and I've already got 2s locked in columns 4s and 6. So 2s have to go in either of these 2 cells. What have we got in this column then, and this row? Have we got some sort of restrictions going on? Let's see. So 2s can only go in these 2 cells. 8s can go in these cells. 4s can go in here, and 5s can go in these cells. So that's not very useful. What about a column then? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4s can go in those. 5s can go in those. 6, 7, 8. 8s can go in these. So that's not very useful. Can I do more with the 9s? I don't think I can. Right, so let's see. Sure, there's something quite obvious going on, but I'm not quite seeing it yet. I'm probably looking at the wrong place. Yeah, maybe there's not much left to look at. 1s, 2, 3, 4s, 5s. Yeah, I think it's time we look at the thermometers, because I think I've exhausted all the basic notations that I can see. So, what can we tell about these thermometers? They are 5 in lengths, so what does that tell us? Well, it can't end with 5, 6 or 7 because of the pointer pair 5, 6 and 7. So the high numbers would be 8 and 9. Did you solve extreme Sudoku? I don't know. What extreme Sudoku? Let's see. So that can't be a 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. So that has to be 8 or 9. So we can't have any 6s along this. Can't have any 6s in this at all. So maybe there's something there. Can this be a 5? In theory, yes. It could be a 5 or an 8, or less really. Could it be a 4? 3, 2, 1. Yeah, that's possible. So it could be 4, 5 or 8. Oh, stupid thing. 4, 5 or 8 in here. Oh, it's messed up my... Hold on, let me undo. I don't know if it did something weird whilst I was using the wrong control key basically, because this app doesn't register. Normal Sudoku, extreme. Well, but there are no standard difficulty in Sudokus. So, for example, I do all the Sudokus on New York Times and LA Times, and they go up to hard and expert, but that's just kind of like their own kind of version of difficulties. I have done Sudoku.com's extreme Sudokus, I think. Let me have a look. What do Sudoku.com have? Because like the difficulty levels are subjective to whoever built a Sudoku app. In some other websites, other apps you've got, actually, yeah, Sudoku.com doesn't have extreme. It goes from easy, medium, hard to expert. And then you've got things like Sudoku Exchange, which has, I think, easy, medium, hard, and diabolical. So, like, extreme difficulty is not really a definitive difficulty, if that makes any sense. It depends on the app that you play, basically. So I haven't played any apps that has an extreme difficulty, but I have played diabolical puzzles that I can't solve because they require very complicated kind of strategies or tactics. Hope that makes sense. So anyway, let's do some more pencil markings in these. So these could be, if that's a 5 or 8, 8, 5, 4, 3. So 3. So this could be 1, 2, 3. This could be 2, 3, 4, and this could be 3, 4, and 5. Those are the possible candidates for these cells. I don't know if that's useful at all in any way, shape or form. What I do know is that 6s can't be in any of these cells. This is quite tricky. I'm not really seeing a whole lot. 6. 3s. Wow, this is only the second Miracle Sudoku and I'm already quite stuck. So spicy, very spicy. So let's look at each of the numbers and see if we can make any sensible deductions. 2s. I haven't got any 2s, but I know 2s can't go in those cells, or that cell, or those cells, or this cell, or these cells. Nor these, nor that. So this is kind of how 2s are looking so far. Am I missing anything else with the 2s? Wait a second. Let's think about this. Consecutive numbers can't be next to each other, right? So there's no way this can be an 8, because this is either an 8 or a 9, and that will rule out the 8 from that cell. So where can the 8 go? 8 can't go in there. Oh, that still only restricts them to these cells. So it's not super helpful. But if we think about this, if this is a 5, well, it can't be 4, 3, 2, 1, can it? That's really interesting because... Oh, hang on, this can be a 7 as well. Okay, I've got this now. These thermometers have to be 9, 7, 5, 3, and 1, because that's the only way we can have a thermometer with no consecutive numbers next to each other. That's very clever. So that instantly gives us a lot more numbers to play with. So with that in mind, none of these cells can be 2s because they're either next to a 1 or they're the third cell along a thermometer, which cannot be a 2. This is also next to a 3, so the 2 has to go there. That means I've deduced a 2 over here. 2 has to be here because I've got 2 1s next to... I've got 1 next to either of these 2 cells, and I cannot have consecutive numbers, so that's where the 2 goes. That is very cool. I'm glad I got there in the end with the logic. Okay, now when we look at the 3s, I have a pair of 3s there, but actually I've got a 3 looking into this cell as well, so 3 has to go here, 3 has to go there as well because of these 3s. So now I've got a pair of 3s up there. Now let's think about this. Wherever the 2 is, the 3 cannot be in either of these 2 cells, so that means I've got a pointer pair of 3s there as well, so 3s are in an X-ring formation. Very cool. Now 4s can't go in these two cells, so 4s must go in these cells. That forms a pointed pair. Have we got any other restrictions? No, we haven't. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, 6 can't go in those cells because they're both next to a 7. So 6 is over here and down there. Anything over here? Well, 6s have to be on this column and it can't be next to a 5. So those are the 6s. And any more 6s? 6s can't go in these cells. I can't deduce where the 6 is in these cages, but that's okay. Let's carry on. 8 can't go in either of these two cells because... No, hold on. If the 9 goes there, the 8 can go there, so I can't make that assumption, but I can make the assumption that the 9 can't go there. But the 8 can go in any of these cells. Okay. Is there something else I'm missing about this? I don't think so. So, let's see. 1s can't go in these cells. That's not super helpful, is it? Oh, it also can't go there because of this 1. So, 1s have to go here. Not super useful. 1s... Nope. Okay, so what can we place in this cage? 4 can't go in either of these two cells, so 4 has to be on this row, and that eliminates the 4 over there, so that reduces the 4, 8, 5 and 2. Brilliant. So now 4 can't go in these two cells because of the 4 under normal Sudoku rules, or under miracle Sudoku where it can't be next to a 3. So those are 4s. 4 can't go there. 4 can't go in this cell either because of normal Sudoku rules, so it has to be a 4 up on the top row. And it can't go in this cell either actually because there has to be a 3 in one of these two cells. So either the 3 is in this cell, or is in this cell, which rules out the 4. So I do have a pair of 4s over there as well. So nice bit of logic. Let's look at this row in general actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can't deduce the 8 just yet. So I'm just going to check my Reddit for a second. Had a comment, so wonder if it's Sudoku related, because I made a post about today's New York Times hard Sudoku with some funky logic. Not funky, but with some cool logic that I noticed. So, nope, it was climbing related. So, let's carry on. 4, 5. 5s can't go in these two cells. Now, let's see. Where can a 5 go in this cage? Well, it can't go in these cells because of normal Sudoku, and it can't go in this cell because of the 6. So the 5 and the 8 are resolved. That leaves me a 4-8 pair. Oops, 4-8 pair in this cage. And let's see. What does that mean? Let's have a look at this cage for a second. I've got 4 and 8, so I'm left with 7, 9 and 5. Well, 5 can't go up there, so this is a 5-7 pair. And that means this has to be a 9. And with that being a 9, 9 has to go here. And these are 1s and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1s and 4s. Okay, so now I've got the 4s locked in columns 1s and 3s. And that means the 4s have to be on this row. In fact, this is a triple anyway. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's put in the triple because I think that's useful information. So 4, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 9 and 7. But the 9 and 7 can't go in this cell under normal Sudoku rules with the 9 and 7 over there. So there has to be a 4. Oh, 4. So that 4 further reduces where the 4 can go in this cage because the 4 can't be next to the 3, so 4s have to go here. So in this case, these are the only places the 4 can go because of the 3. So what can I do next? 4, 7 and the 7 and 9 can be resolved because of that 7 anyway. So 9 and 7 are deduced. So now I'm just left with a pair of 7s over there. So I've got 2 pairs of 7s forming an X-wing. So yeah, that's good. So yeah, now that I've got some momentum, I think I can relax a little bit. How's it been going, Elaine? How's your day been? 5 is over here because of normal Sudoku rules, and it can't be next to a 4. So this 5 further locks a pair of 5s over there. So can I do more of the 5s? Oh, the 5 and 7 can be deduced because of the 5 down there. So that locks a pair of 5s over here. And this 5 also eliminates that 5 as well. So actually I can place the 5 here. So I've got 2 pairs of 5s. 6 can't go there or there. So pair of 6s there. It's not super useful. 6 are also in these 2 cells because I've got normal Sudokus and a miracle Sudoku rule. Okay, maybe I should look at these cells again. So, okay, so 9s have to go in one of these 2 cells, but it can only go at the end of a thermometer. So that has to be a 9. I've got a pair of 9s over here as well. So I know I've got a 3 and 5 in these 2 cells, but these aren't, the 3 and 5 aren't naked in these 2 cells. They're just like generally where the 3s and the 5s can go. So it's important not to make that mistake and assume that I've got a 3-5 matching pair there, because there could be other 3s. Although actually, having said that, if we look at the rows and columns, if we look at all the columns, I've got 3s and 5s in every single one of the columns. So this is actually a matching pair of 3s and 5s. Solely because there are no more places where the 3s and 5s can go on this row, because there are 3s and 5s in every single column. So with that, we can actually deduce where the 9 can go, which is over here. So that should solve the final 9, because again, it has to go at the end of the thermometer, but also with normal Sudoku rules. So that's good. So all the 9s are now done, and 9 can't be next to an 8, so the 4 and 8 are resolved. 8s can't be in these cells or those cells. It's not quite enough to disseminate the 8, but the 8s can't be next to a 9, so there has to be a pointed triple over there. So that means the 8s have to go in those 2. Oops, I didn't mean to put 4 in, I meant to put 8 in. 8s have to be up there. So what are these actually? These are 2, 6 and 8. So 2s have to go in these 2 cells, so I should have a 2-6 pair over there. And it can't be an 8, so this has to be, oops, this has to be the 8. So 8s can't go in these cells or that cell because it's next to a 7. So that's a pointed pair of 8s, which means the final 8s have to be in one of these 2 cells, but not next to a 9. So that's an 8, which resolves the 6 and the 4. So that adds a 4 over there, 4 over here, which is still possible. Yes. Although, if we look at this 4, it ruled out the 4 down there, and means the 4 has to go here, and that deduces the 2s, 3, 5 and 8, and the 8. 8 is resolved, another 8 down here, and let's see, 8s have to be one of these 2 cells. Oh, that's a bit annoying. So the 8s are in an X-wing formation down here. I've got 5 has to go there based on my pencil. No, hold on. Is that correct? Yes, it is, because I originally got the pencil markings from Snyder notations. So 5 has to go there, which means the 3 is up there. That resolves the 3s and the 5s. So I think, yeah, all the 3s and the 5s are done. I can now comfortably put in the ones. Ones, so that's another 1. So a pair of 1s there still can't be deduced. 6 and 7 are resolved up here. So I think that's all the 7's done. What about 6's? 6's can't be next to a 7, so 6 and 6. And that 6 deduced the 8. And finally I've got 1, 4, 1, 4. Is that all the 1s and the 4s? Yes. So I've just got the 2s left. So that's the first miracle Sudoku today. Let's carry on and do some more. Oh, 2-star. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is not good. I am very bad with sandwich Sudokus. Hi Juice, how's it going? Yeah, I'm very, very unfamiliar with sandwich Sudokus. So let's see. In non-consecutive sandwich Sudoku, every row, column and box must have all the numbers from 1 to 9 exactly once. In addition, 2 directly adjacent cells cannot contain consecutive numbers, and numbers outside each row and column correspond to the sum of the numbers between 1 and 9 in that row or column. Whew. I'm okay, thank you. I do have a bit of a headache, which very annoyingly seems to happen when I go out with a mask on. I'm not going to go anti-mask though, because I'm very much concerned about everyone's safety basically. So I'm going to continue wearing a mask even if it means I get a headache later on in the day. So anyway, let's have a look at this. I can see a bit of logic in this column based on the sandwich Sudoku rules. Now I am going to have to bring out, I haven't got Excel, so let's see, what time is it where you are, Juice? Let me have a look. Get my world clock up. It is, oh, just gone 5, so nice and early for you. Okay, so let's think about this. On this column, between 1 and 9 is 14. Well, first of all, we need to figure out where the 9 goes. We know the 9 can't go in these cells because there's already a 9 in the cage. So the 9 has to go in one of these cells. It can't go next to a 1 because that would mean there's a 0 value for the sandwich Sudoku. Can't be one single number because the most you can get would be, well, in this case, a 7, because a sandwich Sudoku cannot contain a 9. So the highest value is an 8, but 8 is already ruled out, so that would be a 7. So bearing in mind there's an 8 on this column, we've got 7 to make 14. The least we need is a 7, 2 and 5, so I think 9 goes there, and I have to have at least 3 numbers, and it has to be at least a 7. Let me think about this. To make 14 is basically 7, 5 and 2. What about 6? Can I make it with a 6? 6, 3 is 9. 3, 5 and 6. 3, 5 and 6 could... Let me get... I haven't got Excel, but... Oh, cool. Just finished work. Have a few minutes, so... Thank you for dropping by. You got any plans for tonight? Let's see, what am I going to use? I'm going to use, what was it, that LibreOffice calculator, that's it. So when I play these kind of Sudokus, I like to use some sort of an Excel spreadsheet that allows me to type up all the numbers, and I use a formula to calculate the sum between the numbers, basically, sum of all the numbers. So sum A colon A, and if I just put in all the permutations. So I think if I have a 6, well, I can't have them next to each other, but let's see. To make 14, it needs to be 6 plus 8. I can't have an 8, but I can form an 8 with 5 and 3. So 6, 5 and 3 could work. And even with the consecutive numbers, I could have the 6 over there, 5 over there, and a 3 in the middle. So it's either 6, 5, 3 or 7, 5, 2. That's quite annoying. 5, 2, 3, 6. So those are all possible. And I know 6s can't go in these cells. So 6 has to go in one of these 3 cells. But can I make more out of this? Well, no, 2 can't go there. So with 2 being in these 2 cells, oh, but 2s and 3s can't coexist. Okay, so what else can I do with this? So in the case of 7, 5 and 3, they can literally go in any, no, 6, 5 and 3. So 7, 5 and 2 can go in any orientations except the 2's up there, so that has to be a 5 or 7. 6, 5 and 3, the only way, hold on a sec, 6, 5 and 3. So let's see, 2, 5 and 7 can go in any orientation. 6, 5 and 3 means 5 can't be in the middle, so 5 would have to be one of the 2 ends, and 3 and 6 would be in the other. So in that case, yeah, I haven't eliminated anything at all, so I don't think that's very useful. No plans yet, probably just make a late dinner, then practice. Practice with your music, I take it. Oh, actually, I just noticed something. This 8 can only go in these 2 cells. So, and in fact, it can't go in that cell anyway, because I've got an 8 on this. Ah, oh, stupid thing. I've got an 8 in that column. So, of course, on the keyboard, I instinctively use the right shift and control when I'm going for the numbers like from 7 to 9, and yeah, it doesn't register in this app, which is really annoying. So the 8 can only go in one of these 2 cells. Have I got something similar going on here? No. Yeah, I've got to keep with all my instruments. All your instruments. That sounds like quite a lot. Okay. I'm running out of ideas. I think I need to use like sandwich Sudoku rules to figure something out. But since I'm quite bad at sandwich Sudokus, I question how successful I will be at this. Right, let's think about this. I've got a 13. Can I have a 13 with 2 numbers? Yes, 6 and 7. So 1 and 9, if they go in these 2 cells, then that will form... Yeah, that will work. But also, they can be 1 and 9 over there, so that hasn't deduced anything. This 9 tells me that 15 has to be sandwiched in these cells. So I wish I am better math. What can I get? 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2, 3, 4, and 6. 4 numbers can form 15. But I think that's the maximum number of numbers. Yeah, the maximum number of numbers required to form a 15 is 4 numbers. So that means the 1 would have to go there. But I think I can do better than that. I think I can form 15 with less numbers. For instance, 6, 7, and 2, 6, and 7 would form a 15. So that means one of these 2 cells have to be a 1. How does that help me, though? Okay, this may be interesting. So 6 can't go in this row, and I've got to make 29. So let's think about this. 8, 7, 5. So I can actually make 29. So 3, 2. Oh my god, that's amazing. Okay, see you later, Jews. So, since 6 cannot go in this row, the only possibility I've got is 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2. And that would form 29 basically. So in fact, I should probably have 2, hold on, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 added up. So the maximum possible value is 35 in a sandwich Sudoku. Okay, and by ruling out 6, I'm left with 29, which is exactly what I need. That means this has to be a 1, and these are all the other numbers. But 8 can only go in these cells because of Sudoku rules. So 8s are in there. I don't want to pencil mark them in just yet. What can I restrict? I can restrict a 2. Can restrict a 3, I suppose. 4s have to go there. So 4 and 8 have to go in these 3 cells. That's not really enough. 5, 7. Yeah, that's not great, I have to admit. But at least I know a 1 goes there. And unfortunately, there's nothing going down this column, so I can't use the 1. But let's think about this. 1s can't go in any of these cells. So, and 9 can only go in those cells. So let's think about this. If that number is a 9, if that number is a 1, where can a 9 go? That forms 30. Well, 30, what's the least? Let's see, what's the minimum number of numbers? I need at least 5 numbers to form 30, so that's a 1. And it cannot contain a 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so there's no way I can form a sandwich that has 30 in it. So that can't be a 1. The 1 has to go here. And now I can solve another 1. So I know the 1 has to go down here. And that's really useful potentially, because that can't be a 9, nor can that. So either I'm able to form 30 with 4 numbers, which is impossible, or I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers to form 30. But either way, the 9 has to be in one of these 2 cells, but it can't be next to an 8. So this has to be a 9. 9 can't go next to an 8, so the 9 has to go in one of these 2 cells. So we're getting some movements now. Can't do anything with those, but at least I've got another 9. Okay, so one of these have to be 9s. Now, if that's a 9, how can I form a 5? I can either form a 5 with a single number or 2 numbers. I can't form a 5 with 3 numbers, because the only way I can get a 5 with 3 numbers would be... No, with 3 numbers. There's no way I can form a 5 with 3 numbers, basically. So either it's 2 numbers, which is 2 and 3, which can't be next to each other, by the way. So that wouldn't work either. So if it's a single number, then a 1 has to go here. But I've got a 1 there already. So, and even if I can find a way of fitting 2 numbers, I've got a 1 ruling out that row as well. So that can't be a 9. That can't be a 9 using the left shift across, like furthest away from the 9, because I can't use the right shift key. I'm going to have to use the delete key to delete pencil markings, because this is really annoying me. Is there like an option that allows me to use the right shift and control keys? Because this is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous that I cannot do that. No. That's just wonderful. That's so oh, what's that? Oh, this is a bit of a tool. Oh, that's really handy. That tells you all the permutations that you can use to form the numbers. So 14 can be formed by these numbers. That's very useful, but we're not going to use that. How do I get rid of this box? I don't know. What's that? I don't know what that is. Okay, let's continue on looking at the 9s. So that 9, so I've got 14 there. It's not very useful. 13, and I've got a 1 here, so there's no way that can be a 9. So I need to form 13 from the 1 onwards. That's probably quite useful. So let's think about this. 13. Maybe I should use the clues because I think it would take me too long to arrive at the same conclusions of what these permutations could be. So let's see. Oh, it's even helpfully. Oh no, I thought it was telling me what cells it would. So it can be 3 or 2 numbers. So if it's 3 numbers, the 9 would be down there. If it's 2 numbers, the 9 would be there. So only these 2 cells can be a 9. And that means the 9 has to go here now, because that is ruled out by normal Sudoku rules. And this cell is ruled out by miracle rule. And that can't be a 9, and I've got a pointer pair of 9s there somewhere. So the 9 has to go here. So there's another 9 pair of 9s over there. So, okay. So with that in mind, get rid of that. I just thought of something. Okay, this row 15, I know it's 3 possible numbers, so there are quite a lot of permutations. I wonder what happens if I click on them. Oh, so that tells me, oh, that's really cool. So I can eliminate the possibilities as well. That's very cool. Okay, so let's think about this. Has to be 3 numbers. 4, 5, and 6. So can we rule out any of these? I don't think I can. I can certainly rule out a 2 can't go in there, but I don't think this is the right way of tackling this. So let's try another way. Let's try looking at where the 2s can go in this cage. Where the 2s can't, let's get rid of that. The 2s can't go in these 3 cells with standard Sudoku rules, and then by miracle rules they can't go in these 2 cells, so 2s have to go there. So I can finally eliminate a 2 in here. So let's see. I know I can rule out 6 and 8. I can rule out 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it can't be 2, 4, and 8 because I can't have an 8. So these are the only permutations that I can have. And I've ruled out a single 2. So there's only 1 possible permutations of 2s left. And it has to be up here. And if that's 2, 5 and 7 will have to go there. So with that in mind, this cell cannot be a 7 because if it's a 2, 5, 7, oh no, I've got 3, 4 and 7 as well as another way of forming that 14. So no, let's leave that. But hang on a sec. No, if it's 3, 4 and 7, that still can't be a 7 because to put the 3 and 4 there, in fact I should delete these pencil markings probably. To form 3, 4, 3, 4 and 7, the 7 can't go in that cell. So actually let's pencil mark in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But I know that can't be a 2, that can't be a 2 because it's next to a 1 and that's a pointed pair of 2s. What can I eliminate? I think I eliminate the 7 from this cell because if it's a 2, 5, 7, then the 7 can't go there. If it's a 3, 4 and 7, having the 7 there would force the 3 and 4 next to each other. So 7s can't actually go in this cell. Can a 7 go in this cell? Yes, it can, because it could be 2, 5 and 7. So this is not great help. But hang on a sec. 3, 4 and 7. 3, 7, 4. 4, 7, 3. So the middle cell cannot be 3 or 4 at all. Well, it certainly can't be a 4. It can be a 3 because it could be 5, 3, 6. So I don't actually know if that's any use because I still don't know which of these 3 combinations it is. So I think that's it. That's not a good kind of use of my time. So let's look elsewhere. 14. Okay, this is probably useful because let's think about this. 14 can be formed from 2 to 4 numbers. With its 4 numbers or 3 numbers, the 1 will have to be down here because it can't go in the other direction. So either 2, 3 or 4 numbers will force the 1 to overlap with the cage. So it actually has to be 2 numbers, and that means that has to be a 1, which forces the 8 to go. Oh no! Oh, it forces the 8 to go there because that's the only cell the 8 can go. So that tells me where the 6 is as well. So that's a few numbers deduced. And now with the 6s, I can now deduce the 6s in here. And that's useful because I just eliminated those 2 permutations. And in fact, I know that can't be a 5, so it has to be a 3 and a 5 there. So this is now a triple. I've done this column. So these 2 are now triples. So what is this triple? This is 2, 4, and 7. But 7 cannot be next to a 6 or an 8. So 7 has to go there. I've got 2 and 4 left. What about this triple? This is 2, 4, also 2, 4, and 7. But 4 can't go there because of the 4 over there. And that triple also gives us another triple, but one of the numbers is a 1, and 1 can't go in this column, so 1 has to go there. That leaves me a 1 there, a 1 there, and a 1 here, but not enough restrictions. But that's another pair now, so I've got a pair up there and 2 sets of triples, so that's useful. Let's see, what is this pair? This is 5 and 3 and 5. Can't deduce where they are, but whether it's 3 or 5, the 4 can't go next to it. So I've just deduced where the 4 is, and now the 4s have to go in here, and also the 4s have to go down there. So what are these? These are 2s, 4s, and 7s. Except that can't be a 2, that can't be a 2. So normal Sudoku or miracle Sudokus, the 2 actually goes down here. 4 and 7, the 6 eliminates the 7, so 4 and 7 are deduced. What about these? Well, I've got a 3 in here because it can't be next to a 2 or a 4, so let's put the 3 down. And then I've got 5, well 5 can't be next to a 4, so 5 is here. And finally a 9 goes in this cell. So isn't that nice and tidy? And I think that 9 just eliminated the only other possible 9 on that row. So 9 has to go here now. So with that 9, I've got my final set of 9s in here. Let's have a look in here. Well, it can't be either of these permutations. So can it be 2, 3, and 8? Well, if it's 2, 3, and 8, 8 has to go in the middle, and 2 and 3 doesn't work because 2 can't go in this cell because of normal Sudoku, but 3 can't go in here because it's next to a 2. So that rules out the 2, 3, and 8. So, oh, in fact, I've got an 8 on a column anyway, so that would have ruled it out. It also can't have a 4 because I've got 4 on the column. So the only thing that can work is a 2, 5, 6 column, 2, 5, 6 triple, and 5 and 6 can't go next to each other, so the 2 has to be in the middle. And that 2 just locked another 2 up there because miracle rule states that it can't be next to a 1. So that 2 just opened up the 2 and 7 up there. So anything else? 2's have to be over there because Sudoku rules and miracle rule next to a 1. Okay, so what about, well, 5 can't go in this cell because of Sudoku rules, so 5 and 6 are resolved. So now 5s are down here. And I've got a pair on this column now. So what is this pair? This is a pair of 3s, and well, 3 can't be next to a 4, so it has to be down here, and 7 has to go up there. So that's another deduction done. 7, 7 normal rules, miracle rules, 7 has to go there. 7 has to go in one of these 3 cells, can't be next to a 6, so miracle rule states 7s are there. 7 can only go here, so actually I can deduce the 7s. So 7, 7, 7. 7 have to go in these 2 cells because it can't be next to a 6. So I think that's all I can do with the 7s. What's going on here then? This is 4s and 6. 6 can't go next to a 7, so 4 and 6 are resolved. 6 over there. 6 are in these 2 cells, forming a 4-6 pair. So these are also 6s and 6s. Not enough restrictions, so let's leave them alone. 1s have to be there because Sudoku rules and miracle rules. So how do I... there. 1s, so 1s and 1s. Okay. This is a matching pair. So what are they? They are 3s, 3s and 5s. Well, 3 can't go in this cell, so 3 and 5 are resolved. That leaves me a pair of 8s. Well, 8 can't be next to a 7, and 4. And that 4 opens up the 2s and 4. And I've got 4 down here as well, can't be next to a 3. So these are 4 and 9. And I'm left with a 6 in this row. So does this 6 bring us joy? Gives us a pair of 6 and 9s there. So on this row I'm now left with a 4. And that 4 doesn't give us anything else. I feel like the sandwich clues are not actually that important. But maybe the sandwich clues, there are multiple ways of using the sandwich clues. But it just feels like I'm not using them at all. So what are these? These are 3s and 5s. So 3 and 5, lock them down, but 3 can't be next to a 2, so 5 and 3, so 3 and 5. And now 5s are here, can't be next to a 4, so 5 can't be next to a 4. So I've got 5s on these 2 columns, so there must be a 5 over here, and it has to be in there because there's a 5 or 6 ruling out this cell. 6s are more or less done. 7s still can't place a 7 on this row. 8 can't be next to a 7, so 8s are there, 8s are here, and 8 is here. So with that I have deduced an 8, a 5, a 2, and I think we can finish up now. So I feel like if I look at the 3s, I should be able to get some movement. So 3s can't be next to a 4 or 2, so 3 and 1 are resolved. So with that, the 3 has to go in here, in this cage, because it can't be next to a 2. So finally the remaining 3 is there. So with the 3 I can disseminate the 4 and the 6 and the 4 and the 9, 9, 6. And now I can finally place the 7s, and the only number left is a 1. And that's another miracle Sudoku done. Phew, that one was scary to start with, but ended up being okay. So I think I'm just going to do one last one and see how... oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. So we've got Knight's move and King's move. So this one, again, we have non-consecutive adjacent cells, but we also have King's moves and Knight's move. So basically the same number, you cannot have the same number twice within a Knight's move, 2 over 1 across in any direction, or a King's move. So this is the kind of miracle Sudoku that I really like. So let's see. Oh boy. So I'm guessing there's something going on in the middle cage. So let's have a look. Oh, it shows me highlights, so that's not very good, because that makes it a bit too easy, I think. Can I gameplay highlight restricted cells off? There, that's better. So yeah, it's a bit cheaty to do it the other way. So I think I was going to look through each of these numbers to see what restrictions it has. So 5s, normal Sudoku rule, king's move. Actually, let's do normal Sudoku. Consecutive rules out those cells. So I've got 5 here already. Okay, so let's do that again. King's move, Sudoku. So one of these 2 cells, but that's the knight's move away from this 5. So that's another 5. So king's move, knight's move. So let's look at the 5s and see what we can do. 5s. I'm very excited by this puzzle because this is probably my favorite variant. So king's move, knight's move. So can't deduce a huge amount just yet, but what I like to do is highlight. Is that highlighting? Okay, so I'll just highlight all the cells that can't be 5s. So, is there something going on here? Yes, these 3 cells actually rules out that cell as a 5, because either you've got normal Sudoku rules, if the 5 is in either of these cells, it rules it out by normal Sudoku rules, or if it's in this cell, on a knight's move. So this cannot be a 5 anymore. Okay, so now this formation I think rules out that cell because these 2 cells has coverage on that cell under normal Sudoku rules, and these 2 cells are knight's move away from this cell. So I can rule that out as well. Anything going on here? There's not as much restrictions as I hoped. So either way, I've kind of like ruled out where the 5s can go, but I think in this instance, I'm going to pencil mark them in. Oh, there's so few given digits. Yeah, this is my favorite variation of Miracle Sudokus. It's a Miracle Chess Sudoku, I guess. Miracle Chess variant, and yeah, I love it. I just love this. So okay, let's get rid of the colouring for the 5s. How do I'm really scared of. Oh damn it! How do I delete colours? Oh, I don't think I can. No. Oh, so Q basically allow you to add and remove cells. Okay, so. Oh, right, I see. Okay, I don't want to do it in Q. Oh, how do I get out of that mode? So, what I want to do is basically highlight all the cells and then press R twice. There we go, that clears it. So those are where the 5s can go. Let's look at the 6s for a second. Well, 6s can't go in these cells. So yeah, it's non-consecutive knights and kings rules. That's right. So yeah, quite a lot of restrictions actually. With a single 6, I don't know if I can get much out of this. 6 can't go in these cells. Can't go in this cell. Can't go in these cells. So, so these could be 6s. And they all have visibility of this cell, but that's kind of pointless because I can deduce that anyway from the 7s. So 7 rules are these cells. So I've got 6s there, which oversees that cell, but also 6s can't go in those cells. I think I'm going to change tact and look at maybe the 7. I feel like maybe I do need to use the 5s. Okay, where can the 7s go? 7 can't go next to an 8, so there's a point at 7 there. So 7 has to go here, but it can't be next to an 8, so the 7s have to go in these 2 cells. Then there's no way that a 6 can go in either of these two cells, because if they do, they'll either cover the 7 or be next to a 7. So actually I can place a 6, and the 6 can go in either of these two cells. Okay, so that's a start. What next? So 7s. What about 8s? Well, 8s can't go... Oh, of course 8s can't go in any of these cells. So 8s are in there. 4s can't go in those cells. 8. 9s can't go in there. Not making huge headweights. So where can the 8s go in this cage? Can't go in any of these cells because of the 7s. So 8 has to go there. So that locks an 8 up here. So finally we've got some movement. So the 8 tells me 9s can't go in these cells. So I've got point at 9. So 9 are ruled out of those cells and those two cells. So that has to be a 9. And 9 has to be... Hold on, let's look at this again. Yeah, 9 is pointed there, so it can't go there, can't go here next to an 8. So I've just got myself another 9. So I think maybe 9 is the next number I should look at, because I've got a few of them now. So let's do normal Sudoku first. And now let's, actually I'm going to use the Q mode. So 9s can't go in these cells, because of King's move. And the Knight's move ruled out those cells as well. Okay. So, anything else? So this triple effectively rules out all of these cells as well, because they either Knight's move away, so the corner ones will rule out the Knight, the middle one King's move. So all these 3 cells are ruled out. Anything else? Okay, so let's look at this. That has to be ruled out. These 2 cells are ruled out actually, because either by Knight's move or normal Sudoku rules, or normal Sudoku and King's move away. Does it rule this cell as well? I think it does. So either of these 2 cells. So this sees either of those 2 cells, King's move away or Knight's move away. This one is fine. What about this cell? Yep, that one's fine as well. Let's look at over here. Nope, that's not very useful. What about here? All of these cells sees that cell. That cell is the King's move away from those, normal Sudoku or Knight's move away. So I think that's all the restrictions I can give the 9s. Okay, so can I flip the numbers? I bet I can't. So I'm just going to colour them in and then switch to normal mode and just pencil marking all the 9s. Not quite done as much deduction as I hoped. I might have actually missed... Oh, hang on a sec. This can't be a 9 because of the 8. So I've not ruled out all the possible 9s actually. Now I have. So this little block doesn't do anything extra. That also doesn't do anything extra. So okay, so those are currently contenders for the 9s. So let's put them in and then get rid of the colouring. This may take a while, guys. Okay. Where next? Maybe I should look at the 4s, because let's see, 4s can't go in these cells, can they? Because it's next to a 5, so maybe I should have done that first. So this is actually a 4-7 pair, and that 4-7 pair basically means there's a pair of 7s up there. Well, this 6 is what deduced, the 7 is up there anyway, I think. Yeah, because I already had the 7. So what about 4s? 4s can't go in these cells, so 4s are over there. So that means these have to be 4s, but it can't be next to a 5, so that has to be a 4. And now that I've got a 4, can I do more? So let's see, these two cells rules out all of those and that as 4s. So maybe it is worth looking at the 4s. Also rules out all of those as 4s and both of those as 4s. And in fact, normal Sudoku rules. And also I've got a set of 4s over there, haven't I? So let's see. That rules out those cells and rules out that cell as a 4. Those can't be 4s. And in fact, let's clear this up. I got to go again, but I'll be lurking. Good luck with the puzzle. Thank you, Jews. Hopefully, I would have finished by the time you come back, but no promises. Okay, now this formation is useful because that can't be a 4 under normal. This cell sees the entire L with either kings or normal Sudoku rules. This cell sees the knight's move and the normal Sudoku rules, so those can't be 4s. What next? So this cell, I think, sees all of these cells. Knights move, yep. Knights or kings move away. So it can't be a 4. Okay. I think that's all I can do with the 4s, so it's not as restricted as I hoped. And I can't use the 5. Oh, hang on. This can't be a 4 either because it's next to a 5. So does that help us? Not really, no. So that's still quite a lot of 4s. So I think what I should do is just pencil marking the 4s over there. I think I should look elsewhere before I proceed. So what am I missing in these? Let's look at this column for a second. What am I missing? I'm missing 1, 2 and 3. Okay, I can't deduce any of those. Where can the 3 go? Okay, 3 can't go here. Can't go there. No, there's not enough restrictions. So I definitely need to do something with the numbers as they are. So it's probably time I look at the 7s actually. So let's do just that. Let's switch to highlight mode. Those are seen by the 7 and then normal Sudoku rules. Oh, that's a good point. So this can't be a 7 anyway because it's seen by the 7. So, and also it's next to an 8. What the hell? Why have I got that pencil marked in? So I could have deciphered the 7 a long time ago, and that would have been really useful because now I've got an extra 4. So that rules out 3s from these cells. It's not as useful as I thought, but these are now 1, 2 and 3. Okay. Still not that useful, I must say. 3 can't go in this cell. Let's look at the 7s again. 7s. Yeah, I think it's time I look at the 7s properly. So, normal Sudoku rules first. So look at the rows and the columns. And then build the cages. And then do the king's move. And then the knight's move. Okay, now what do we see? Also eliminate cells that are next to the 6s and 8s. Okay, I've done that. So I've got a pair of 7s there. That effectively rules out all of these cells, either by king's or knight's move. And they both see that cell, which is the knight's move away. Okay, so now I can eliminate all of these cells because 7... Oh, actually, yes, 7s are like that in those cages, actually. That is useful. Wow, this single 7 was really powerful. It locked a pair of pointed 7s. So, what next? I think that's all I can do with the 7s. So there are no relationships between these two cages. Yeah, I think it's time I pencil mark them in. So I've got 7s locked in no cells. Okay, that's good to know. 8s, yeah, it's time I look at 8s. I've got a fair few 8s. So let's mark the rows and then the columns. Oh, god damn it. And then the kings moved, and then knights move. And then consecutive numbers. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. So instantly I can see there's a pointer pair of 8s up there, and I've got an 8 over there as well, so that's useful. So now, these cages aren't that useful, but these cages rules out that cell as an 8, and also that cell rules out that as an 8. So now these two cells both seize this cell because of the knight's move, and now they formed well, actually it forms a pointed pair, so it forces that to be a pointed pair as well. So 8s are actually really good. So let's color them in. Let's place the 8. 8 is, oh god, undo. 8 is here. 8s are there, there, and there. Okay, so what does that tell us? Well, these 8s remove, hold on, let's clear the puzzle. The 8s will effectively eliminate any 7s and 9s where they are a pair. So let's see if we've got something like that going on. So 8, so this pair of 8s cannot also be 9s. The 9s can't be either on the same cell as the 8 or next to an 8. So we can eliminate those 9s. These 8s, let's see. Yep, that's fine. These 8s, so those 8s are fine. What about the 9s now? I eliminated 2 9s. Okay, so I've got no 9s on this column besides this this column. So this cage have a pointer pair of 9s. So these 9s has the additional property of removing that cell as a 9 because it's either kings move away or knights move away. So now I've got a pair of 9s there, so these 2 9s, the dominoes can rule out those 2 9s because they're either the knights move or normal Sudoku rules away. So that gives us a pointer triple of 9s that rules out those 2 9s. Thank you. So 9s are looking a lot healthier now suddenly. So just got an orange from the wife and I am going to eat it. I'm going to peel the orange whilst I'm at it. Did you do today's New York Times Sudoku?
I finished it.
Okay. Let me know if you need help. Don't think I can do much more with the 9s now, so I will have to make this the last miracle Sudoku. This is my little ASMR peeling oranges. Hope that was enjoyable. Okay, so we can probably start thinking about the 6s now, because I think, yeah, we've placed a lot of 7s and 5s, so with them we can eliminate a lot of 6s. So let's have a look at them. So let's do all the rows first. That's what I always should have done. If I send a Sudoku to use solve, I can have a go at it. If you need help with Sudoku, I'm more than happy to give them a try. I can't promise you I can solve it without seeing it though, because I'm not really that good at Sudokus. I think I'm reasonable, but I'm probably like a moderate Sudoku player, but when you get into like real Sudoku solving, I'm definitely below average with the more advanced techniques. Okay, so let's colour those cells in where the sixes can't go, and instantly, oops, we can see that we've got a pointer pair of sixes here, so that removes those cells as sixes as well as these cells, but also I've got a pointer pair of sixes there, so actually I can remove all of those as sixes. Now, what else can I do? I think this is where I'll be looking at the fives. Okay, so for instance, in these three cells, if the 5 is in any of these cells, it will rule out the 6 from that cell. The middle cell cannot be a 6 because it'll either be next to a 5 or be on the 5. So yeah, I can rule that out as a 6. I've got something similar going on here. So this cell is either next to a 5 or on the 5, so I can rule that one out as well. These 5s are not so useful. However, I do have 2 7s there, so this can't be a 6 because it'll be next to a 7. Let's look at the other 7s. So I've already removed this cell, which is in between 2 7s, so that's good. Anything else? Okay, so let's look at these 2 6s. They will remove all of these cells either by king's move or knight's move. So let's mark them. Any other properties? Okay, so now on this column, I've only got 2 possible places for the 6s, so I can rule out these cells. So, oops. So now 6s are looking quite healthy, I think. Can I make any further deductions? No, I think this is all I can do with the 6s. And that's really interesting, actually. There's something interesting going on with these 6s formations, so let's do something about it. Okay, so now I want to... So these are 6s, right? Pencil mark them in. These 2 are 6s, so that means in between the 6s cannot be a 5. Oops. Undo. I can't have a 5 in this cell because it will force it to be consecutive to a 6. It also can't be a 7, so let's look at 7s. Oh, we've already eliminated that as a 7 anyway. So we knew that couldn't have been a 7. Now, does that do anything for our 5s? No, it doesn't. But also, this cell can't be a 5 because, again, it's in between 2 6s. Anything else? 6s. Nope, can't see anything else. So let's pencil mark in the 6s now. Feel like we've still got a long way to go yet, but we're slowly crawling our way towards a solution. Do I want to pencil mark these in? There's a lot of pencil markings. Let's do it. Okay. So I wish there's a button to highlight everything or just reset the colors, because that would be really useful. Okay, I think I should really look at all the 7s and kind of pencil mark in all the where the 7s can go. So 7s can go in these cells, but it can't go in the same 2 cells as the 8s. So those could be 7s. Now, what about this cage? Well, I've got a pair of 7s there. Oops. Got a pair of 7s there. So let's see. They ruled out those cells as 7s. They also ruled out that cell as a 7. So what does that mean? Not much really. Just means 7s go in these cells, I think. What about down here? 7s can't go in these cells, can't go in the same cells as the 8s. So 7s are in these positions, but they also can't go in the same 2 cells as the 6s. So they're actually locked in these positions. It can't go in either of these 2 cells because it's going to be next to a 6 or on a 6. So that's where the 7s can go. And that's good because if you look at this cage, I've got the 7s in these cells. They all overlap this single cell because this cell is either king's move away from these cells, normal Sudoku array, or a knight's move away. So this can't be a 7 because it covers all of the possible 7s. So that forms a pointer pair of 7s, ruling out that 7. And finally, we have ourselves a 7. And I can place that 7. And now, placing that 7 means that can't be an 8 anymore. And I've only got a single 8 left. That 7 also eliminates a 6. And now, do the 6 do anything special? No. And I've only got a single 7 left on this column. So that has to be a 7. And let's see. Wait a second. Oh no. I thought a 7s and 6 couldn't work, but they're fine. So yeah, we're slowly making progress on the 7s. So now I want to see if we can do more with either the 8s or the 6s, because I think something's got to give now. So let's look at the 6s for a second. 6s. So I've only got a single 6 left on this row, so that has to be a 6. And this 6 rules out that 6 and now creates a pointer pair of 6s, so that has to be a 6. And that locks a 6 down there. And can't do anything else with the 6s now. But that 6 removes a 5, so I've got a 5 there, forcing a pointer pair of 5, so that has to be a 5. Anything else with the 6s? 6s, so that can't be a 7 anymore. 6s, 6, 6, 6, 6. Okay, 7s. And now I've got a single 7 left on this row, so that has to be a 7. And what else does this 7 do? I think it just ruled out an 8 from this cage, so that has to be an 8 now. Did it automatically remove? No. But either way, I've only got a single 8 left, because an 8 can't go there, 8 can't go in these 2 cells. Oh, hang on a sec. Oh, because of these 8 forming the next swing, so that ruled out all of those cells. So I've only got one place for the 8 over there anyway, so that results in 8 over here. Okay, so the 8 just removed a 7, so now I've got a pointer pair of 7s, removing a 7 down here, placing another 7. So that 7 eliminates the 6. And now, how are we looking at the 6s? I've only got a single 6 left on that row, in a cage even. So 6s are now locked in the next swing. But I think we're in a really good position now. I think we should be able to place maybe some more 9s, I want to say. Yep, I've only got a single 9 left on this column. So that's a 9, which actually resolves all the 9s for us. so that's really useful. And do the 9s. The 9 eliminates that 8, so I can place all the 8s now, and that 8 doesn't resolve all the 7s, so that's a bit annoying. But if we look at here, we've got 5 and 6s overlapping, but the 6s are in these two cells, so neither of which can be a 5, so that has to be a 5, and that resolves all the 5s. And now that I've got the 5, this can't be a 6 anymore, so 6 is over there and there. So all the 6s are now done, and I think we just need to place the rest of the numbers. So let's look at the 5s and see if we can deduce where the 4s are. I've got a pair of 4s there, pair of 4s there. 4s can't go in these cells, so there's only one place for the 4, one place for the 4. Where else? 4. 4. Oh, that can't be a 4, so 4 is over here. So 4, 4, 4. Point a pair of 4s, so that can't be a 4 anymore. Okay, something's not right. That can't be a 4 either because of because of the 5. But this can't be a 4 either because they'll overlap with either of these two 4s, so that has to be a 4. That has to be a 7, so that's all the 7's done. All the 4s are done. So let's work on the 3s now. There must be something quite obvious, like that has to be a 3 in this case because these two cells are both next to a 4. So what does this 3 do? Locks a 3 over there. Locks a 3 over there, 3 over here, 3 over there, 3 over there, 3, 3, 3, 3. And 2s, there must be one that's next to a 3, so 2 can't go there. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1, and 2. So I've just got the 1s left. Oh, hang on. 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. And we have another miracle Sudoku done. I'm going to call it a night now. So, Decresia. Have you got the Sudoku that you wanted me to try and solve? Because I'm done with miracle Sudokus now. So if you have a Sudoku that you want to post a link of, then I can maybe have a go at it before I go to bed, depending on how difficult it is. So please let me know. I'm just going to step out for a little bit to rest my eyes a little bit because my headache is kind of making me struggle a little bit. So I'll come back in 5 minutes, and let me know if you got the puzzle for me, and I shall have a look at it, and I can probably gauge whether I can do it or not. So be right back. And I'm back. Oh, it's a screenshot. Can you post this screenshot on Imgur or something like that, or Imgur, depending on. Is it on the internet? Because if you have a link, then that would be the easiest. Sudoku exchange. Yeah. If you upload the screenshot on there, then I can have a look at it. Then you can put the link in here in the chat, and I can open it. How are you getting on anyway? I presume you're stuck on a Sudoku, and I'm guessing you enjoy Sudokus. Hopefully that's why you're watching my stream, because you must have looked for Sudoku specifically. So thank you for joining me, and hopefully I can help you with your Sudoku. But if not, there are probably ways that we can do it. And if Elaine and Jewstein are around as well, we may be able to ask them for help as well. So I think between the four of us, we can probably figure it out. Wow, I've just realised I've been streaming on 60 frames per second rather than 30. So I don't know how that fares with my internet connection, really. My friend, you start when I upload, I say to... My friend, you start when I upload, I say to you, it's okay, I can wait, because I'm not going to do another Miracle Sudoku. I suppose I can try and do let's try a hard puzzle on Sudoku Exchange and see how I get on. I'll try and speed solve it, but can't really promise much. But let's see how I get on. So that's a 1. So those are 1s. 2s, only got not many 2s. 2, so that's a 2. Not enough info, so 3s. Oh, it's so weird playing on Sudoku Exchange after being on Miracle Sudoku now. Haven't got any 4, so that's interesting. But I have a 5 and a 1. That resolves the 1 there. Can I do more with the 5s? 5s. Nope. 5s are fine. So 6s. I really want to look at the consecutive numbers now. So that's quite dangerous. 7s. 7s, got a 7 over here. Pair of 7s there. Pair of 7s over here. Point a pair of 7s, so that's a 7. Which means I've got a pair of 7s up there. So 8s are here, so that's a 6-8 pair. Which means I've got another pair of 8s over there. Pair of 8s over there. Anything else? Not that I can see, but this means this is a 4. Oh, I've got the link, so let's have a look. Okay, I see it. So let me new puzzle, leave the page. This looks like a fairly challenging one, so the numbers look quite sparse and apart, so hopefully it's not too difficult. But actually I've got a cluster of numbers there, so hopefully it will be okay. Just got to make sure I put them in correctly. 7, 2, 9, 5, 8, 8, and 6. So let's double check. 3, 4, 7, 9, 4, 2, 6, 9, 1, 7, 1, 4, 4, 7, 2, 9, 5, 8, 8, 6. Okay, so let's give that a try. Okay, so first of all, we are. So what I do is I use this method of notation called Snyder notations. So I start off by just basically looking for where I can pencil mark in 2 numbers at a time, and any other cages I'm going to leave them alone to start with, and I'll just see how far I can get with it. If I can't get very far, then I may have to resort to some additional pencil markings. So the freeze locks the 3 over there. Do give me a shout if I'm not explaining something properly. If something doesn't make sense, do give me a shout, and I will kind of go back to it. 4s are over there. I've got 4 down there because of these 2 4s, and that 4 locking a 4 down there. So now this 4, that 4, and that 4 locks a 4 down here as well. So these 4s and that 4 gives me a set of 4s. I've got 4 possible positions for the 4 in this cage. So with Snyder notation, I'll ignore that for now and come back to it later. So let's move on to 5s. I've only got a single 5, so what I like to do when I have a single number is to look on the column and the rows, because 5 is considered a weak number. There's only one occurrence of it. So if I pick a random cell that doesn't see a 5, I know that a 5 is one of the possible candidates. So rather than kind of looking for a number in all the other cages, in all the cells that doesn't see a 5, if you look at a 5, there's a higher probability that it will overlap with all the other numbers, and hopefully we can find what's called a naked single. So what we do is, for instance, we look on the columns. We'll try and work out what numbers they are. There are only 4 cells left on this column that are empty, so we can kind of just get an estimate. We can tell they are 1s, 2s, 8s, and 1, 2, 7, and 8. So I can tell this has to be a 7 because the 7 on this column cannot go in this cell, cannot go in these 2 cells because of the cage. So actually, let's do it the other way. On this column, the 7 overlaps this cell, and this 7 overlaps these 2 cells. So there's a naked 7 in, not naked 7, but there's a 7 locked in that cell. So now I've got 3 numbers left, and they are 1, 8, and 2. So I can tell the 8 can't go in this cell. So that means the 8s have to be locked in the same cage. So I've got 2 candidates in the same cage, so I'm quite happy to pencil mark those in. And I'm just left with the 1s and 2s, and I don't know where they are, so I'm not going to pencil mark them in. Now let's look horizontally. On this row, we've also got 4 numbers missing, and they are 1s, 3s, 6, and 7. So 1s only overlaps this cell. 3s doesn't overlap any of the blank cells. 6 can't go in this cell, but there are no other 6s. 7 can't go in these 2 cells because of that 7 and this 7. Oh, it can't go in this cell either, so we can lock a 7 there. So now we're left with 1, 3, and 6, and all we know is that 6 can't go in this cell. They can go in those 2 cells, so that's not really useful for us because we only want to pencil mark in things within the same cage. So that's all I can deduce by just looking at the 5, by looking at the row and the column to try and find kind of additional numbers basically, and I managed to put a couple of 7s in. I'm going to move on to 6s now. So 6s, they don't overlap very well at all, so I can't restrict the 6s into 2 candidates per cage, so there's not much I can do with it. So let's move on to 7s. So this 7 and that 7 leaves me 2 possible candidates there, so 2 7s in that cage. Anything else? Yes. So this 7, that 7, and that 7 locks a 7 up here. So now these two 7s, along with this 7, gives me 2 possible 7s in this cage. And I'm left with 3 possible 7s in this cage as well. But that's not useful for me because with Snyder notations, I prefer not to pencil mark in 3 candidates. So I'm going to leave that one alone. But I can pencil mark in a pair of 8s there because of these two 8s. So the 8s can only go in these 2 cells within this cage. This 8, along with the pointer pair of 8s, locks the 8s in here, but I can't do anything with that. I don't want to pencil mark in 3 candidates, basically. So I'm just going to have a quick glance. Nope, I'm not going to pencil mark them in. So that's all the 8s that I can see. So it's time to look at the 9s. I've got 9 locked in here because of these 2 9s. So now these 2 9s locks a pair of 9s down here. Can we do any more? Well, this 9 and that 9 locks the 9 in this cage, and now these 2 9s, whoops, these 2 9s and that 9 locks the 9 over here, and now these 2 9s locks a pair of 9s in that cage. So I think that's all I can do with the 9s, because the only 9s not pencil marked in are here, and there are 3 possible candidates. So again, Snyder notation, I'm not going to pencil mark them in. So now that I've done a single scan of the grid, I like to go from 1 to 9 because it allows me to see things like anytime there's like, for instance, with this 8, I can see there's a hidden triple. So the 8s have to be, they're restricted to this cage on this column basically. So that means the 8s can't go in this cell, and it allows me to do additional pencil markings. And it's easier to identify them if you stick to looking at a single number at a time. But anyway, normally what I do is I'll do one scan of the grid and then see if there are any revelations afterwards, basically. And by that, I typically start with what I called weak areas on the grid. So what are weak areas? Weak areas are any rows, columns, or cages. I haven't got any cages that follow this property, but any rows or columns and or cages that have only like 3 or less cells remaining on them are always worth having a look at. So for instance, in here, what I want to do is I've got 3 cells left on the row, so I want to think about what numbers are missing, and I'm missing a 6, an 8, and a 5. So with that, I will basically look at the columns and think, and the cages, to see if I can find those 3 numbers. I can only find a 6 overlooking that cell, so that still leaves me 2 possible 6s, and that cell can be a 5 or an 8, and these 2 cells can be 5, 6, or 8. So this triple is not very useful. Let's look at this one instead, because we looked at this one earlier. It was originally a quadruple with a 7, but we managed to place a 7 and left it as a triple, so that's not useful right now. Let's have a look at this one instead. We're missing a 5, 6, and 8 again. So if I'm not mistaken, 5, 6, and 8 was on this row, and 5, 6, and 8 are on this column. And that is interesting because, first of all, I've got a 6 and an 8 looking at this cell. So on the column, I'm looking for 5, 6, and 8. But if this cell can see a 6 and an 8, then it can only be a 5. That means these 2 cells are 6s and 8s. What's really interesting, though, is this is a bit of a more advanced technique. I knew that this row was 5, 6, and 8. So these 3 cells are 5, 6, or 8. And when I had the column that also have 5, 6, and 8, and I noticed I've got 3 cells of the row and the column which are restricted to 5, 6, and 8. That effectively means these 3 cells have to be 5, 6, and 8. So they're actually a triple of 5, 6, and 8. So if I pencil mark them in, and I with this web app, I can do center pencil marking. It's just a way of noting that these are the only possible numbers left in these cells, as opposed to the corner candidates where I'm saying this is one of the many possible candidates for this cell. So it can be a 1, but it can be other things as well. But the center pencil markings here are basically saying these can't be any other numbers besides these 3 numbers, basically. So I can also eliminate the 5 from this cell because it can see a 5, so it can only be a 6 and 8, and this can only be a 6 and 8 as well. I like to leave that cell alone. Some people like to pencil mark, center pencil marking to say, denotes that we've got 6 and 8 in this column. I personally don't like to do that unless I'm desperate and I'm really struggling to spot until I'm stuck basically and I can't find anything. Then that's usually when I do kind of like column pencil markings. So why did I want to pencil mark in this triple? Well, pencil marking them in basically means no other numbers can go in these 3 cells, and since they're locked within a cage, they're quite safe. If I do them on a row, there's a chance that, for instance, if I do a 6 and 8 on this column, well, now in this cage, I've not pencil marked in all the possible 6s or the 8s, so at a glance, I could potentially assume that I've only got a 6 left, or under a different scenario, I might think that's the only 8 left in this cell, basically. So, because in Snyder notations, when you pencil mark in 2 numbers at a time, as soon as you eliminate one of the candidates, you know that the remaining candidate is the confirmed number, and there's a risk that if you do it by columns and rows, that you can confuse yourself. But when it's within a cage, I've basically said in this cage, leave those 3 cells alone because they can only be these 3 numbers basically. So that means these 4 cells are the only ones in play in this cage. Oh, actually, this 6, this can't be a 6 anyway. So this is kind of, yeah, this 368 triple is actually in this formation. Anyway, so these 4 cells, there are 4 possible numbers in them, and they are 1, 4, 7, and 1, 2, 4, and 7. Those are the only numbers left. But funny enough, I can't see any 1s and 2s. I've already pencil marked in the 4s and 7s, but I can't see any 1s or 2s, so I can't actually do anything with it just yet. But hopefully, in a moment, we will be able to do something with it. So, kind of done a lot of talking. I'm going to delete this 6 and 8, but what I'm going to do is look at this 5. This is the only number that I've physically placed when I was looking at the weak areas. So I should have a look at what effect this 5 has on the surrounding areas. So for instance, these 2 5s now forces the 5s to be in these 2 cells. So that's useful. So that's a bit of restriction. So at some point when I can eliminate one of the 5s, I know where the 5 lives in this cage. Okay, so that was a lot of talking. I need to catch my breath a little bit. What else can I do? So since this is a triple of 5s, I have effectively ruled out this cell from being a 5 because the 5 can only live in one of these 2 cells in this cage. That's kind of the logic with the triples basically, because I've got 5, 6 and 8 locked in these 3 cells. I hope the logic is correct, but it should be, yeah. And since 5 can't go in this cell, this means that the 5 can only live on row 2 within this cage. And that is powerful because it means that cell can no longer be a 5, because if there's a 5 here, I've effectively eliminated all the possible 5s in this cage entirely. So if that can't be a 5, that means the 5s have to be on columns 1 and 3, as well as rows 1 and 3. And that's useful, potentially useful. I don't know what it can do right now, but I can see that I've also got 5s locked in the same 2 columns, columns 1 and 3. So in effect, I've identified where the 5 can be in 2 of the columns, because under any permutations, if the 5 goes in one of these 2 cells, then there has to be a 5 over here. Conversely, if the 5 goes in one of these two cells, it has to be here. So either scenario, the 5s are taken care of in columns 1 and 3. That means the 5 has to be in the middle. Hi Juice, welcome back. Yeah, I finished the Miracle Sudoku. It was a really fun puzzle. I really enjoyed that. So now I'm just helping Decrecia to do... I think it's like is it an extreme Sudoku? Did you call it that? It's just a Sudoku that they sent me, and I'm trying to solve it, but also talk through how I solve it, basically. I'm not sure if this is a regular Sudoku. Oh, I think it is. It is a regular Sudoku because if it wasn't, then Sudoku Exchange will give you a shout saying, "Hang on, it doesn't work. There isn't a unique solution." So I think this should be okay. But anyway, I've locked the 5s down in this column based on those kind of rules, but I don't actually know where the 5 is, so it's not actually that useful as it turns out. But I still got a pair of 5s there, so maybe useful later. Anyway, the next thing I want to look at is actually have I looked at this triple? This is 1, 3 and 1, 3 and 6. I think I have looked at that before. Yeah, I looked at that before when I was looking at the 5, so I can't deduce that yet. So I've now looked at all the weak areas. I've looked at all the triples on the rows and the columns. So the next thing I want to do is look at the cages. But before I do, I'm just going to have a sip of water. Okay. So the first thing I like to do, I can't promise this will bring any revelations, but I often find it kind of useful, is looking at cages like this. So this is a checker pattern. When you've got the cells, you either have the numbers in the 4 kind of middle squares, or if you have numbers in those cells and empty cells in the middle, that's also a checker pattern. They often, the opposite version tends to be more useful because that leaves you kind of a single row and single column. But the other formation is also sometimes useful, and I like to have a quick look at it, basically. So I'm just looking at all the possible numbers and see where they can go. So I already know 5s go in the 4 corners. 1, 2, 3. So 4s go in the 4 corners as well. So 8s go in those cells. 6 can go literally everywhere. So I can't do anything with this checker pattern. So I saw I missed something. Oh, have you figured out the solution to the puzzle? Is that what you were in Sudoku? I saw I missed something in Sudoku. So I'm gonna wait till, like, if you want to tell me what you've missed. But other than that, the next thing I was going to do was to look at this cage, because any T-junctions are often quite useful, because any numbers that overlaps this row will force a pointed pair, any numbers that overlaps this column will force a pointed pair. So in this case, in this case it forces a pair of 6s, because the 6s are ruled out from those 3 cells. So 6s have to go there, and it forms a pointed pair of 6s, ruling out these cells, and that 6 ruled out those cells, so I've got another pair of 6s over there. Have I got anything else in this cage? I don't think I have. So now I'm just going to look at any quadruples in the cages. So in here, unfortunately, there's nothing overlapping these 3 cells to lock a single in there. And there's nothing overlapping that either to force another pair here. Although, actually, the 6s do lock a pointed pair of 6s there as well. So I've now got 6s up there. And it's not super helpful, but you understood me. Okay. So I hope I'm being helpful so far. Should I continue on and just to kind of see if I can solve the Sudoku? Hopefully I can. I still don't know if I can, because, you know, still, you know, we're nowhere near finished with this puzzle yet. So I can't see anything else that's interesting about the puzzle right now. So I'm just going to do another scan until I get stuck, basically. So I'm going to scan the numbers again from 1 to 9 and see if I can find any more restrictions. So 1s, 2s, 3s. Okay, so pointer pair of 3s there. So this 3 rules out that cell. So there has to be a 3 in this column only within this cage. So that rules out these 3 cells. So that's how I deduce that there's a pair of 3s there. I don't know if that's useful though, because there are no parities with the 3s here. I am curious if this is a naked single though. 1, 2. Oh, it can be a 3 or a 5 and a 9. So nope, it's not a naked single. Don't think I can do anything else with the 3, so let's move on to 4s. No new information on 4s. When I did, I missed, and I'm seeing now. Okay. 5s. So 5s are locked in these 3 cells. Now, I do want to have a look at this. Just going to have a quick look and see 1, 2... No, there's nothing there. So one of the things that I started doing in the past few weeks is whenever I see, even though I don't pencil mark in triples, this 5 is locked in those 3 positions and they overlap with the 6s. So what I like to do is see if this is a triple as well, see if there's another number that restricts the cage as such that they fall within the same 2 or 3 cells basically, but I can't see anything like that, so there's no triple going on there. So I don't think there's any more 5s. Let's look at 6s. I think I've probably exhausted all the 6s. I have indeed. 7s I've also exhausted. They're still in this formation, which is not useful. 8s, I've got a pointer triple there, but it's not useful as yet. 9s. So it does look like we are stuck, so we may have to pull something out of the bag here. And we can go about it different ways. I guess the question is if you want me to go the easy way or the more complicated way, and the more complicated way may not even guarantee a solution. Because the difficulty is because I don't know what your level is. So I don't know if the things that I try are going to make any sense to you, and I don't want to explore techniques that are not helpful at all, basically. So I'm just having a quick look around at the moment whilst I wait for your response. But I have a feeling that it's best for us to go with the easy approach, really. Yeah, because I don't think there's a lot of information yet with the pencil markings, so I think it may be worth just pencil marking in everything and see if we can get anything from it. 2s and 4s. Nope. Yeah, there's not a huge deal of information right now, so so the second thing I do, I'm going to stick to kind of like my normal routine where I stick to minimal amount of pencil markings. So what I tend to do is count the numbers basically, and what I'm looking for are the weak numbers. So I've done a count and I can find 5s, I've got a pair of 5s, 6s, I've got a pair of 6s, 8s, I've got a pair of 8s. So remember I said earlier that I look at the weak numbers, and what I like to do is look at all the weak numbers now. So 5 was originally the weakest number with a single occurrence, but now that there are 2 of the 5s, we now have 3 weak numbers, which are 5, 6 and 8. And what I like to do is look at whether all 3 numbers overlap. So they overlap in, for instance, this row. I've got 5, 6 and 8 in the same row. So what I like to do is like see if there are any numbers, any naked singles on these rows, and a quick glance, I can tell you there isn't one because I'm missing 1 and 3 in most of the cells. And I always look at the empty cells first. So I'm going to have a quick look and see if there's anything I can do. This is also seeing 5, 6, and 8 because this is a pointer pair. Oh, actually, yeah, there's an 8 in there. So 5, 6, and 8. But I'm pretty sure this is also missing 2 numbers because the entire row is... Hold on, how many 2s have I got? I've got 3 2s, so it's still fairly weak. But this is either 1 or 2, so that's not useful for us right now. Anywhere else that are 5, 6, and 8. So what you want to do is just kind of like stick to one number and look for where it overlaps with one of the other 2 numbers and see if you can get a third one in line. And it's safe to say I can't do anything else with this 5. What about this 5? 5, 6. So technically all these cells overlap with 5, 6, and 8, but I've got 1 and 2 there, so again that's not useful. And this already has 2 pencil markings, so it's not definitely not a weak number. Sorry, not a naked single. 5, 6, and 8. This also overlaps with 5, 6, and 8. So what? I think that's another 1 and... Oh no, hold on. 1, 3, and 6. No, 1, 3. This is a 1 or 3, basically. So again, that's not useful. So what I'm doing is just basically looking at these cells, and what you can do is you can count what numbers you can see. So I can see a 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm missing a 1 and a 3. So this cell can either be a 1 or a 3. But what I want is really a cell that has all the numbers, all the other numbers already, and there's only a single number remaining. And I can't seem to do that. And one last thing is trying to use the pointer 6s to see if we can find any more overlaps. And I can't. So I think I have exhausted any possibilities. So I have a feeling it's something to do with these triples. So I think that's the more advanced technique. So let's do center markings for these and see if we can deduce anything. 5, 6, and 8. So this is a 5, 6, and 8 triple. So I want to look at this column and see where the 5, 6, and 8 can go. So I've got 5, 6, and 8 there, so it can't go in this cell. 6 can't go in these 2 cells, but no, I don't think there's a 5, 6, 8 triple here, so that's actually a dead end. So yeah, this is definitely a tricky puzzle. So now I'm going to branch out a little bit and look at the quadruples. So let's have a look at this. I'm missing 1, 3, so I'm just counting the numbers that are missing on this row. 1, 2, 3, and 9. I've got 2, 3, so this is a 1 or 9. Maybe useful later. 2, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 9 can't go there. 1, 2, 3, and 9. So I've got 1, 9 pair there. And that is interesting. Okay, so this is a semi-advanced technique, but this cell, looking at this row, I'm missing 1, 2, 3, and 9 there, and I can see 2 and 3. So that means there has to be a 1 or 9. And what's interesting is, if we look on this column now, where can we place the 1s or the 9s? Well, first of all, let's look at this cell. I've got a 1 or 9 already, so I can't place the 1 or 9. Actually, let's highlight these cells. That can't be a 1 or 9. This also can't be a 1 or 9 because I've got 1 and 9 there. This cell can't be a 1 or 9 because I've got 1 and 9 there. But also, I've already determined with the center marking, that pencil marking, this has to be 5, 6, and 8. So now I'm left with 2 cells that can be 1 and 9. So this is also a 1 and 9. So what does that do for us? That means there's a 5, 6, 8 and 5, 6, and 8 triple. Basically 1 and 9 can't go in any other cells besides these 2. What that means is no other numbers can go in these two cells either, because if the 1 goes there, the 9 has to be here. Whereas if the 9 goes there, 1 has to go there. That's the only two scenarios available to us for these two cells. So that gives us another 5, 6, 8 triple. But 6 and 8 can't go there because I've got, oh no, 6 can't go there. It can be 5 and 8. So this is a 5, 4 and 8. This is a 6, 5 and 8. So I don't know if that's useful or not, but it's how far I've gotten so far. And unfortunately, I can't lock down 1 and 9 any further horizontally either. Almost feels like I can lock them down here, but I can't actually, because 1 and 9 can't go in these three cells. However, 9 can go in here, 1 can go in here, so I've got 1 and 9 stretched out over 3 different cells, so that's not a hidden pair. So with that in mind, I need to pull something else out of the bag. So let's have a look at the 5, 6 and 8 on this row. I have a sneaky feeling that maybe there's another cell that the 5, 6 and 8 can go. But I'm not sure. I'm not super confident of that, I have to say. This is definitely, yeah, it's definitely one of the more tricky puzzles. 5, so that can't be a 6. Can be 5 and 8. Can't be a 6. Can be 6s, can't be 5. So I haven't got a 5, 6 and 8 triple on this row. What about here? What about this cell? So let's see. Nope, I haven't got 5, 6 and 8 triple on there either. So even though I've managed to deduce this triple and hidden pair, it's not actually helped me. So I'm a bit disappointed by that, I have to say. Oh no, hold on, sorry. I got excited for something that isn't actually valuable. I thought I saw something, but I haven't. So, because I'm looking for 1, 2, 3 and 9 here, so that's not useful at all. So I think we need to do some more explorations. What else can I do? I wonder if there's another 1 and 9. 1 and 9 can't go there. Oh no. Yeah, that's not useful at all, really. So maybe we do have to pencil mark in everything, which is disappointing. I'm just going to do another round of notations to see if I can do anything else, because I have restricted these cells, so maybe that actually brings us something. So maybe I should actually look at the cages rather than all the numbers. So let's see. 1s, 2, 3. 3s can go in those cells. 4, 5. So 5s are there. 6. 6 are locked in those cells. 7, 8, 9. So there are no new restrictions for those. What about this cage? So 1, 2, 3. 3s can go anywhere. 4s are there. 5, 6 and 8 I can ignore. 7, 8, 9. Okay, there we go. I think we've got something potential. Oh no, I haven't. No, that's a 1 and 9. So actually, I haven't locked down the 9s in any ways. So this is a bit disappointing. I'm not getting very far with this. So I think I need to do more pencil markings. I think I'll have to do everything. Sorry, this is taking a very long time. I definitely think this is quite a challenging puzzle. So I'm just going to do another scan of all the numbers and see what I can do. Oh, it doesn't help that I'm getting quite tired now, but I will persist. Let's solve this puzzle. And I do have a contingency plan if I'm not able to solve this puzzle. First of all, we've got Elaine and Juice in chat, and they may be able to help. And secondly, Sudoku Exchange is really useful, because if you get stuck on a puzzle, you can ask for help. So 8s can go in a lot of places. 9s. Okay, I am going to pencil mark in everything and see if I can find anything. So I don't normally do this, but I think at some point you have to cut your losses and accept that you have to pencil mark in everything. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to pencil mark in all the candidates. So basically, Snyder notation hasn't helped me solve this puzzle. So I'm conceding that I'm basically just going to pencil mark in everything that I can see. Hopefully, we are going to find something once we've done that. So those are 2s. 3s. 3s are over here, over there, over there, over here, over here. Those are the 3s. 4s. Do you know what I just realised? I haven't actually looked for a naked single. So I do wonder if there's a naked single somewhere. So those are the remaining 4s. 5s. Although I think it's pretty safe to say there aren't any naked singles actually. So those are where the 5s can go. 6s. So this is the reason I don't do this kind of... Oh, 6s can't go in those cells because I've got 5, 6, 8 triples. So got to remember that. I can send more information. It's okay. Unless there are additional rules, I think there is a unique solution to this. Otherwise, Sudoku Exchange would have shouted at me saying there isn't a unique solution. So just going to pencil mark them in. Although it may be that you've actually kind of like found some additional pencil markings that are useful, and if so, apologies for not accepting them right now, but I think I'm quite close to... Yeah, so these are the pencil markings. Okay, so let's see. Let's look at the numbers and see if we can deduce anything. So what I like to start with is always starting with... Oh, you found it. Have you found a solution? So let's see, 1, 2. So what I like to do is look at the pairs, any cells with 2 candidates, and see if there's anything special going on with them. So 3s and 9s, 3s and 5, 6 and 8, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, definitely being blind because I can't see anything. Certainly not in the rows and columns. There may still be a hidden pair or triple, so if you guys see anything, please do give me a shout. But this is definitely my weakest play, because this is why I prefer to do things in Snyder notations, because I really struggle to read the grid. When it has this many numbers, I very often miss the hidden pairs and triples. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Ah, here we go. So on this column we have a 1, 2, 3 triple, I think. One, 3, 6, 1, 2. So let's just double check to make sure. I can see 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So on this column, I've found a naked triple. The 1s, 2s, and 3s can only go in these 3 cells, and that's really powerful in this instance. So let's pencil mark them in first. So this is a 1 or 2. This is 1 or 3. This is 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to remove the normal pencil markings. So this triple, this triple basically denotes that those are the only places that the 1, the 2, and the 3s can go. And as a result, 1, 2, and 3 can't go in the remaining cells on the same column. so I can remove them, and it's revealed a 7 and an 8. So hopefully that's what you found. So I can eliminate all the 8s. Have I eliminated all the 8s? Yes, I have. And all the 7s. So 7s can no longer go in those cells. Now I've got a 5, 6 pair. So 5 and 6. And that's useful because now I've got a triple of 5, 6 and 8 horizontally on this row. So I can now remove the 5 and 8 on this row as well, and the 8 in this cell. So now let's have a look. 5, so 5, 6, hasn't actually unlocked the puzzle for us by the look of it. This is 1, 2 and 3. Have I got another triple on there? No, I haven't. Okay, can we actually do anything with this? Don't need that pencil marking for 6 anymore. I think we just need to look at the numbers again. Maybe look at the 8s. Just going to have another sip of water. Three. 4. Where's the 5? 5s. Ooh, that's a lot of 5s. And I wonder if there's something sneaky going on with the 5s. Unfortunately not. Okay, nothing untoward happening with the 5s. Although I do have a pointer pair of 5s here looking up. So this can't actually be a 5 anymore. And is that useful for us? Not really. It's not very... yeah. That doesn't actually give us anything additional. 6. Pointer pair of 6s. 6s... Ah, okay, so... oh no, I thought there was an X-wing here, but there isn't. 7s, 8... anything happening with the 8s? Not that I can see. 9s. Okay, so I wonder if there's something else going on, or whether we can do something like simple colouring to solve this. There may be some Y-wings going on, so Elaine's favourite type of solutions. So let's have a look. Nope, no Y-wings there. What about... nope, nothing in there. 3, 4 and 9. So have I got a 4 and a 9 anywhere? Nope. Anything else in this cage? Nope. 5 and 6, 6 and 8. So 5 and 8. Can't see anything. I suppose, yeah, we've already spotted a triple. So, okay. Moving on. Doesn't look like there's a Y-wing anywhere. Nope, there are no Y-wings in this puzzle. So Elaine would be glad to see that. I think maybe it's time to look at... have you managed to solve it yet, Dicresia? Because I wonder if we should break out simple colouring, because I think simple colouring would be really useful. I have a feeling simple colouring will solve this puzzle. Can't guarantee it, but it feels possible with simple colouring, but certainly not on the 2s, not on the 3s. I feel like 8 is the good candidate. Let's have a look at the 8s. I'm just going to have a quick look at this. So if that's an 8, that would force pointed pair of 8s there. So if that's an 8, that has to be an 8. And there will be an X-wing, so that will have to be an 8, and that will have to be an 8. So if that's an 8, on the other hand, then this has to be an 8, that has to be an 8, that has to be an 8, that has to be an 8, and that has to be an 8. Okay, so this is interesting. So the technique I just used is called simple colouring. And what you do is you pick a number basically, but the most important thing is whatever number you pick, ideally you want a cage that has 2 candidates. So here we've got 3 cages where there are 2 candidates for 8s, and I just did a scan of these 2 8s. So let's go through them again. So I'm just going to highlight all the 8s. What happens if this is an 8? Well, it will rule that out as an 8, and also rule those 2 out as an 8. So down here in this cage, this is the only place an 8 can go. That 8 rules out this cell, forcing a pointed pair, so it rules out that cell as well. So this can't be an 8 anymore. That 8 rules out that 8, so the 8 has to come down here. And it comes across, forcing an 8 up top. So those are the possible 8s, and I'm left with an X-wing of where the 8s can go. So let's colour them in, and let's look at the other version of the 8s. So if the 8 goes in the other cell, well, let's follow the trail and see what happens. First of all, we can force an 8 in this cell, and now the 2 8s forces an 8 over here, and now they force an 8 over there, and this 8 forces an 8 down here, and finally the final 8 has to go there. And this is a dead end, this is a deadlock, because now I've got 2 8s on the same column, and that cannot be true. So that actually eliminates this cell as an 8, because it's an impossible 8. This 8 will actually loop back to force an 8 right underneath. So there can't be an 8 anymore, so this has to be the 8. So the 5, 6 and 8 are actually resolvable, where if I undo the colouring, this has to be the 8, that has to be the 6, and this has to be the 5. And that resolves the triple, resolving the 6 here. This 6 also resolves the 6, 8, and 5 on that row as well. So I think we should be able to just unravel the puzzle now. So let's have a look at all the 8s. So these can't be 8s anymore. And let's see, those 2 8s eliminates that 8, so that has to be an 8 as well, which resolves the 8 over there. So how are we looking on 6s? Well, we've got 6 over there, which eliminates, actually these 6s are all eliminated, and there's a 6 up there, so those are all the 6s. What about 5s? 5s are still being stubborn, so but I think we should be able to move on. Oh, hang on. Oh yeah, the 8s aren't resolvable yet, but I think we can, with the changes that has happened, there's a good chance that we can actually solve this puzzle now. So for instance, there's only a single 2 now, so that resolved the 7, which resolved the other 7, forcing the 3 there, 4 there. So let's see, this has to be a 5 now, and this 5 resolves another 5, 5, so those can't be 5s anymore, so that resolves the 2 and the 3, and the 2 unlocks another 2 here, 2 there. So yeah, shame on those 5s. I don't know what that means. I don't know why you said that and why that's funny, but it tickled me a little bit anyway. So 2s, 1s, 4s, 1, 8, 8. So I'm kind of, part of me is a little bit disappointed that we had to use simple colouring, because it's not the nicest way of solving a puzzle. It doesn't feel like proper logic. It feels more like oh, oh. Oh, let's hope there's enough backstepping. Okay, so this is where we were. So I used a method called simple coloring to resolve the 8s. So the way it normally works, in fact, I wonder if I can try something different with the simple coloring, if I can do something different with it. I'm just going to have a quick look. No, the other way doesn't work. So, okay, are you with me at the moment? Hopefully your connection is still good. Oh, I'm so tired. It's midnight. I'm just going to get a glass of water, top up my water. So put a message in chat if your connection is stable, so I know that you can actually see what I'm doing. Can we go out early tomorrow to the shops? And I'm back. Yes. Okay. So basically, simple coloring is a technique where it's kind of half trial and error, but you're basically following the numbers. But what you tend to do is, I think it comes with a bit of experience in terms of patterns. But I noticed that the 8s are quite, I don't know, the way they're arranged, with lots of kind of diagonals and kind of triples, they tend to, I don't know, I just had an instinct that it's useful, so I had to go at it. So this is simple coloring. You start by looking at where all I'm focusing on the 8s, so I've highlighted all the 8s on the grid, and this is kind of like coloring already. You're coloring all the 8s, and now what you're going to do is you find a cage that has two candidates. So here we've got 2 8s. We've also got 2 8s in these 2 cages, but these aren't actually that useful. It's usually when there's a bit of a bend, like a diagonal, that are most successful with simple coloring. So first of all, we're going to look at this number. We're going to see what happens if this is an 8. So with that being an 8, it will rule out these 2 cells and force an 8 down here. This 8 also rules out that 8, forcing a pointed pair of 8s there. So that in effect rules out that number as well. So this can't be an 8 anymore. And also this 8 rules out that 8. So the 8 has to go there, which in turn means I've got another 8 there. So that's one possibility. With me so far? So I've coloured them one variation in. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the other candidate, because bearing in mind the 8 has to go in one of these 2 cells. So I followed down one path and saw what the potential solution is. I'm now going to follow the other 8 and see what happens. So first of all, it eliminates this 8, forcing the 8 up here, and that eliminates these 2 8s. So I have to have an 8 over here. That 8 eliminates these 2 8s, forcing an 8 over there. And that 8 eliminates that 8, forcing an 8 down there, and that 8 down there, forces an 8 over here. So for argument's sake, let's colour them in as well. So I've coloured them in greens and reds. But actually, this cell was green before, so I'm going to make it yellow. So, actually, no. Let's stick to red. Well, red doesn't work, basically, because red has now got 2 8s on the same column. If I start with an 8 here, I will end up with an 8 directly underneath. So that's an invalid solution. And you often find that just it is a bit of a trial and error kind of. It feels like trial and error rather than a logic, where simple coloring actually works. There is a logic behind simple coloring as well, and I'm going to talk about that as well. But basically, I know that this can't be an 8 based on this kind of variation. But the other thing that this does, as let's say this wasn't, let's say the 8 didn't actually end up clashing in itself. It does do something else though. The other thing that it does is, if you look at the rows and columns and cages, anywhere that you see a red and a green cell, so on this row I've got a red and a green and a third cell. In this cage I've got a red and a green and a third cell. So on this row I also have a red and a green. So these 3 cells actually can't be 8 at all, because in either, wherever the 8 starts, whichever variation of the 8s, there will be an 8 in at least 2 of the places on these rows, or in this case this cage. So there has to be an 8 not in this cell basically. So these 3 cells also can't be 8 anyway. That's how simple coloring is meant to work. It's meant to eliminate numbers. But one of the side effects of simple coloring is sometimes you get lucky and you instantly solve an 8, because we've worked out that the red path is a dead end. So we know that this can't be an 8 anyway. So the 8 is actually over there. So let's follow the 8s. That's an 8. So all the greens will be 8s. And also, now I know, since I've removed the other 8s that overlaps the red and greens, I can now safely say this is an 8, which I knew anyway, because if that cell can't be an 8, that has to be an 8. So this is a 6 instead, and this is a 5, and this is a 6 because of the 5, 6, 8 triple. This 5, 6, 8 triples are also resolved, and I think that's all the 5, 6, and 8 resolved in terms of the triples that were locked in. So just to avoid confusing myself, I'm going to remove the coloring now. I'm just going to check on the 8s quickly. So these 2 cells can't be 8s anymore, and I'm left with an X-wing of 8s. But from now onwards, you should be able to solve the entire puzzle. If you just follow the numbers, I don't think there's anything with the 5s, but the 6s, I can clear all these cells. So that means there's a 6 here, 6 here. I'm left with an X-wing. What else can I do? I think that basically left me a 2 over there. So if you look at all the possible 2s, 2 can go here, and this 2 eliminates 2 over there, forcing a 7, resolving the 7, resolving the 3, resolving the 4. This 3 also eliminates that and forces a 5, 2, and 3 over there. So that's a 5. But yeah, I think the puzzle has basically collapsed on itself. Should be able to solve this quite easily now. So 2's going to go there anymore. So there has to be a 2, 2 and 1 and 3, 3, 3. So anything else? Oh, my eyes are really tired now. So those can't be 4s anymore. Oh, that doesn't actually resolve. Probably something with the 5s. Oh, surprisingly not. 6, 7, 8, 9, 1. Yep, so those can't be 1s anymore. Those can't be 1s either. So 1, 1, 8, 8. Anything else? These must be resolved both. The 2 resolves the 2 and 4. The 4 resolves the 5, which resolves the 9 and the 4. That's sort of 4's done. What about 5s? Well, that's a 5. That's a 3. That's a 3. and that's a 3. So that resolves, that can't be a 2, so it must be 1 and 6. 6, 1 and 9. 1 is here, so 9, 1, 3. Oh, not 3, 9, sorry. And that's the Sudoku basically. So it ended up being a simple colouring. Simple colouring is not the only technique. It's one of the easiest techniques, kind of quite entry-level technique. It's a bit cumbersome to do, but it's one of the techniques that doesn't require really complicated logic. So it's one that I managed to learn and practice a few times, basically. But there are more advanced techniques that can be used to solve the puzzle. But yeah, I will say that is a fairly tricky puzzle. It would be quite hard on pen and paper, definitely. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. I did enjoy the puzzle, and I hope that's been helpful in some ways. But yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna have to go to bed now. So thank you for keeping me company, and I'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow. For me, I don't know if I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna stream in the morning. I'm gonna do the New York Times and LA Times Expert Sudoku in the morning, but I do have to go to the shop, so it'll just have to be a quick session. No problems at all, Di Gracia. Hope I'm pronouncing your name right. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you again in the future as well. If you have any other puzzles, because I'm not particularly good, so I'm learning from these as well. So if you want to drop by again, that would be fantastic. And do throw any more Sudoku my way, and we can work on them together. So hopefully we'll both get better at it. Until then, I shall bid you good night. I think Elaine may be still kind of like doing other things, so I think Elaine is lurking. So good night, Elaine. Have a lovely rest of the evening. Bye, guys.